Welcome to online class on law of torts. Today we discuss on two very important matters. That is strict liability and absolute liability. What do you mean by strict liability? Strict liability, when you say about strict liability, then that is also otherwise known as Ryland versus Fletcher case liability. So, you know, every person is liable whenever he keeps a dangerous thing or dangerous chatter, then he is liable for this. But under the rule of strict liability, there is a situation when a person may be made liable for some, even though he is not negligent, he is negligent. Once negligent is proved, then he is liable. But under the rule of strict liability, a person is liable even if he is not negligent. And he had no intention to cause harm to the, that is the plaintiff, the person against whom some harm is caused. It is also known as no fault liability. It is no fault liability. Strict liability, that is no fault liability. So, in this connection, the rule laid down, there are two very important cases in this no fault liability. One is Ryland versus Fletcher case, and the other is MC Mehta versus Union of India. You should understand both the cases. So, under the Ryland versus Fletcher, that is a strict liability, but under, hello? 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 So, under the Ryland versus Fletcher case, the rule laid down in Ryland versus is generally known as it is also known as rule Ryland versus Fletcher or rule of strict liability. Under the rule of strict liability, there are certain exceptions. Though, if a person is not negligent and he is in possession of some dangerous article, or if he is in a dangerous premises, if that dangerous thing, dangerous premises causes any harm to another, though he is not negligent, he is liable. But there are certain exceptions to it. What are those? There are four exceptions this under the strict liability. Those are first, plaintiff's own default. The plaintiff himself is at fault for which he sustained injury. That is Ryland versus. In Ryland versus Fletcher case, we find five exceptions. First, plaintiff's own default, if any harm is caused, then the defendant will not be liable. Act of God, that is vis major, consent of the plaintiff, act of the third party, statutory authority. So, strict liability is subject to some exceptions, these five exceptions. Plaintiff himself is the wrongdoer, plaintiff is a wrongdoer. That is plaintiff's own default. Because of plaintiff's fault, some dangerous thing is there. Suppose a snake is there, but the plaintiff goes and catches this snake, and the snake bites, and he sustained injury or he died. For that the person will not be responsible. That is an exception. Act of God. Suppose a tiger is in the case. There is a lightning, and the case was open, and the tiger killed someone. That may be treated as act of God. Consent of the plaintiff himself, the plaintiff has consented to take the risk. Act of third party, if a third party has interfered, and because of that third party is interfered, some escape takes place, then the Dependent will be the person who is the occupier, who is in possession of that dangerous thing. He is not liable. Statutory authority also an exception. So you should know what is the strict liability. You should rule of strict liability. In otherwise it is called Ryland versus Fletcher. In the year 1868, the House of Lords laid down the rule recognizing this is no fault liability. In the year 1868, House of Lords, for the first time in what recognized the no fault liability. In this case, what happened? The defendant by engaging an independent contract. There was a shaft, some disused shaft, old disused shaft under the site of the reserve. That the contractor failed to observe this and did not block the shaft. What is shaft? That is sunk, any narrow passage is sunk under the ground. That is shaft. The contractor could not observe and did not fill up this. When the water was filled in the reservoir during rainy season, it burst through the shafts and flooded the plaintiff's coal mines, neighboring coal mines, on the adjoining land. So, defendant was also not aware that he was shaft and had not been negligent. The defendant had not been negligent because he had engaged independent contractor. So, even though the defendant had not been negligent, he was held to not. There was no negligence on the part of the defendant. But he was in occupation of a dangerous process. Because that water of the reserve flooded the neighboring coal mine. For that, he is like, this is no fault. Even if the defendant had no fault, even if the defendant was not negligent, still the defendant was made liable. The basis of the liability in the following rule, that is propounded by Blackburn Justice. What he says, we think that the rule of law is that the person who for his own purpose brings on his land and keeps there anything likely to do mischief, if a person for his own benefit keeps anything to his land and which is likely to cause mischief, and if it escapes, must keep it at his own peril, his own danger. And if it does not do so, is prima facie answer. Person has that the stored water for his own benefit. That escape, even if he was not negligent, he is liable. This is called, that is strict liability, otherwise Ryland versus Fletcher rule. Yes, also that is, he can excuse himself by showing that he escaped, because the plaintiff may take excuse by showing that escape was going to plaintiff's report. In such case, he can excuse. He can also excuse that there was act of God, that is bis measure. But other than that, he cannot escape his life. So justification of this stated rule was explained in the that is flooded water from this neighboring region. This is called strict liability. In liability, that is strict liability rule, that must be a dangerous thing. A person is in possession of occupation of a dangerous premises. What is dangerous thing? According to this rule, liability for the escape of a thing from one's land arises provided the thing collected was a dangerous thing. What is that dangerous thing? Thing likely to cause mischief or harm to another. Those things may be gas, electricity, vibration, sewage, flagpole, explosives, noxious fumes, and rusty wire. Any dangerous thing. Then that must have escaped. It is also essential that the thing causing the damage must escape to the area outside the occupation of the control of it. Outside the occupation of the control of it, that has escaped. So suppose there is a projection of a branches of a poisonous tree on the neighbor's land, this amount one escape. Some projection, a poisonous tree branch is there, somebody came in contact with that poisonous branch and sustained injury. That will also be treated as escape. So Reed versus Lyons case is another illustration where there was no escape. Therefore, there was no liability. In that case, the plaintiff was an employee in the defendant's ammunition factory. The plaintiff was himself an employee in the ammunition factory while she was performing her duties inside the defendant's premises. A cell which was being manufactured there exploded and she sustained it. There was no escape because it was within the premises of the plaintiff. There was no evidence of negligence on the part of the defendant. Even though the cell which had exploded was a dangerous thing, it was held that the defendant were not liable because there was no escape. First thing, there must be escape. That is poisonous thing, dangerous thing, and that must escape and purchase. And non-natural use of, third is non-natural use of land. Water collected in the reservoir in such a huge quality in Ryland versus Culture, that was kept as non-natural use. For the use of non-natural, it must be some special use. Non-natural use means some special use, bringing with increased danger to others. That is non-natural. In Sochaki versus Sass, it has been held that the fire in a house in a grade that is an ordinary natural proper. Suppose somebody is cooking, this fire escapes. For that, this Ryland causes that is somebody is damaged to the another property. That will not be treated as dangerous thing because fire normally it is used. Fire is used for cooking. So similarly, in Noble versus Harrison, it has been held that trees non-poisonous on one's land are non-natural. Poisonous tree may be treated as non-natural use. There being branch of non-poisonous tree growing on the defendant's land, which overhung on the highway, suddenly broke and fell on the plaintiff's vehicle passing on the highway. The branch had broken off due to some latent defect. It was held that the defendant could not be made liable because it is not a non-natural use. The rule of Liner versus is growing of trees is not non-natural. However, the growing of a poisonous tree will be treated as non-natural. And if the animal on the neighbor's land nibbles the leaf, okay, when you eat the poisonous leaf, such a tree and dies, then the defendant will be liable. So electric wire in a house or a shop, supply of gas, in gas pipe, in a dwelling house, water installation use are other example of natural use of it. That is natural. So in T.C. Balakrishna versus Menon case, it was held that the use of explosive in a major open ground, even on a day of festival, is a non-natural. Suppose a cracker is used. Use of land, because under the Indian Explosive Act for making and storing explosive substance, even on such place, at such occasion, license have to be taken. Suppose a firecracker, no license is taken. But that will be treated as non-natural. Suppose an act of independent contractor, the defendant cannot escape on the ground that here the particular thing was done by an independent. Generally, an employer is not liable for the wrongful act done by the independent contractor. The rule is that only employer is liable for Servants Act. However, it is no defense to the application of this rule. This is Ryland versus Fletcher rule. This independent contractor, somebody's defendant cannot escape his liability on the ground that the independent, he had engaged the independent contractor in making some construction. Ryland versus the defendant were held liable even though they had got the job done from the independent, because Ryland versus Fletcher case, the reservoir had been constructed by the defendant by engaging independent contractor. In T.C. Balakrishna Menon versus T. Subramanian, an explosive made out of coconut shell filled with explosive substance instead of rising into the sky and exploding there ran at a tangent, fell amidst the crowd and exploded, causing serious injuries to the respondent. One of the questions for consideration before the High Court, Kerala High Court, was whether the appellant who had engaged the independent contractor to attend to the exhibition of fireworks would be liable. It was held that the explosive is an extra hazardous subject and attract the application of Ryland versus Fletcher rule when it will be up. So that must be a dangerous thing that is escape in non-natural. Then only this Ryland versus Fletcher rule will be up. There are exceptions, 5 exceptions into Ryland versus Fletcher rule. Plaintiffs own default. Damage caused by escape due to plaintiff's own default was considered to be a good defense in the tort. In the Ryland versus Fletcher rule, if the plaintiff suffers damage by his own intrusion into the defendant's property, entry into the defendant's property, he cannot complain for this. In Porting versus Snow case, the plaintiff's horse intruded into the defendant's land, died after having nibbled the leaves away. Suppose the plaintiff's horse entered and this into the field of somebody and nibbled the leaf of poisonous tree there. The defendants are not liable because damage was not would not have occurred but for the horse own injury. So here, when the damage to the plaintiff's property is caused not so much by the escape of the thing collected by the defendant as by unusual sensitivities of the plaintiff's property, so the plaintiff cannot recover it. Eastern South African Telegraph Company, the plaintiff's submarine cable transmission were disturbed by escape of electric current from the defendant's tramway. It was found that the damage was due to the unusual sensitivity of the plaintiff's apparatus, and such damage won't occur to a person carrying an ordinary weakness. Act of God is a good defense in this Ryland versus plaintiff's intervention, that is plaintiff's own default, that is first defense. Second defense is act of God. For the act of God, so in the explain that, what is act of God? Act of God means that is, you see flood, this is cyclone, then earthquake, those are called act of God. So extraordinary rainfall, heaviest in the human memory, that may be treated as act of God. By which stream and the lakes swell so much that the embankment constructed for the artificial lakes, which were sufficiently strong for an ordinary rainfall, gave way and rush of water down to the stream and washed away the plaintiffs for bridges. So act of God means which is beyond the control of the human being. So that is act of God. Consent of the plaintiff. Ryland versus Fletcher will not be applicable when the plaintiff has consented. Where the plaintiff has consented the accumulation of the dangerous thing on the defendant's land, the liability under the Ryland versus Fletcher rule will not be applicable. Such a consent is maybe implied consent, where the source of danger is of the common benefit. So when for common benefit, the source of danger is there, then we may say there is consent. For example, 2 persons are living on different floors of the same building. Each of them is deemed to have consented to the installation of things of common benefit, such as the water system, gas pipe, electric wiring. So in such case, if one of the tenant he sustains an injury, then that will be treated as that is consent of the plaintiff. When water has been collected for the common benefit of the plaintiff and the defendant will not be liable for the escapes of such. In Castells versus Taylor case, what it says, the plaintiff had ground floor of a building from the defendant. The upper floor of the building was occupied by the defendant himself. Water stored on the upper floor leaked without any negligence on the part of the defendant and injured the plaintiff's goods on the ground floor. And the water had been stored for the benefit of both the plaintiff and the defendant. It will be treated as consent of the plaintiff. Act of third party. So, but the harm has been caused due to the act of a stranger, who is neither the defendant servant nor the defendant has any control over him. Then the defendant will not be liable. Apply the principle of Ryland versus. Thus, in Bucks versus Juve, the overflowing from the defendant's reservoir was caused by the blocking of a drain by a stranger. The defendant was held not liable for the same. Ricketts versus Rosen, some strangers blocked the waste pipe of a wash basin, which was otherwise in the control of the defendant, and opened the hot tap. So if a intervention of a third party, if thing escapes, that third party will be liable. However, the act of a stranger is foreseen by the defendant and not foreseen that some third party will interfere. The damage can be prevented. The defendant must by due care prevent it. So, but the defendant at the that is would have foreseen that a third party will interfere. So, in such case, he will be liable. Failure in his part to avoid such damage will make him liable. In Northwestern Utilities case, that is, the appellant were a public utility company carrying gas at a high pressure. During the construction of sewer by the city authorities, a gas pipe leaked, resulting in fire which destroyed the hotel insured by the restaurant. Since the operation of the city authorities were conspicuous and the danger to the gas pipe could have been reasonably foreseen because gas pipe and guarded against, the failure to do that was considered to be negligent of the plant of the appellant and they were held liable. This is act of third party. In MP Electric Board case, it has held that if the accident was caused by the unforeseeable act of a stranger, the rule of strict liability did not apply. In Meghalaya State Electric, relying on this exception to the strict liability as explained, held the appellant not liable for the electrocution of the right arm of the victim, which was as a result amputated. But in that case, the Urban Affairs Department of the state government had constructed a gallery in the children's park, raising it to the height that distance between the top of the gallery and the electric wire passing over the gallery. The appellants were not aware of the height of the gallery, not was brought to their notice on any part. At the relevant point of time, children were playing in the park. The victim and one of his friends climbed the gallery in search of their ball, unmindful of the high tension electric wire passing over the gallery. Suddenly, the victim came in contact with the gallery. Since the raising of the gallery to the height did not interrupt the transfusion of electricity, the board was held to have no reason to visit the park to ascertain about the construction of the gallery. On the basis of the total liability resulting, totality of the facts and service of the case, the court exempted the board from liability because third party is interference. Then statutory authority. It has already been known that an act done under the authority of a statute is defense to an action under the Ryland versus statute. In Green versus Chelsea Waterworks, the defendant company had a statutory duty to maintain continuous supply of water. A main belonging to the company burst without a negligence on its part, as a consequence of which the plaintiff's premises were flooded. It was held that the company was not liable. It is statutory. The position in India. So, considering this, the rule of strict liability is applicable as much in India as also in India. There has, however, been recognition of some deviation both ways. That is the extension of the scope of the rule and strict liability as well as the limitation of this. So, Ryland versus Fletcher was followed in many decisions in Indian courts. The liability without fault has been recognized in case of motor vehicle accidents. Ryland versus Fletcher, that is applicable in motor vehicle cases. So, the area of the Supreme Court had held that in Minumeta versus that the liability of the owner or the insurer of the vehicle could not arise unless there was negligence on the part, but no fault liability in motor vehicle cases. That has been accepted. So, liability without fault in case of motor vehicle accident is a welcome measure. Now it is no fault liability you find. It will be the consonance with the present day needs when the emphasis on the finding ways of means of compensating the tort risks. So, the liability of the railway is in respect of the carriage of goods, animals, and was of that of belly under the Indian Contract Act. The railway authorities could not be made liable. By an amendment to the Indian Railways Act, now that is Indian Railways has been charged for that belly to that an insurer. So this is, now let us know what is absolute liability. In this strict liability, that is Ryland versus, that is Fletcher rule, that was given a very turning point. That was by the Honorable Supreme Court of India in NC Mehta versus Union of India. What it says? The Supreme Court has dealing with claim arising from the leakage of a oleum gas on 4th and 6th December 1985 from one of the units of Shriram Food and Fertilizer Industries. What it says? In this city of Delhi, belonging to Delhi Cloth Mills, as a consequence of the leakage, gas leakage, it was alleged that one advocate practicing in the Tisajari court had died and several others were affected by the same. The action was brought through a writ of petition under Article 32 of the Constitution by a public interest litigation. The court had in mind that within a period of 1 year, this was a second case of large-scale leakage of deadly gas in India. In the earlier, due to the leakage of MIC gas from Union Carbide plant, that is Bhopal. Within 1 year, after 1 year, this had happened. More than 3,000 persons had died. If the rule of strict liability laid down Ryland pressure was applied to such like situations, then you had established hazardous and inherently dangerous industries in and around thickly populated area could escape the liability for the havoc caused thereby by pleading some exceptions. If this Ryland versus Fletcher rule will be applicable in gas leak cases, though in such case, the factory owner may escape by in certain situations. For instance, when the escape of the substance causing damage due to intervention of third party or due to a stranger, say due to sabotage, due to attack of this by the extremist, then the factory will not be made liable. So this Supreme Court took a bold decision, holding that it was not bound to follow the 19th century rule of English. Supreme Court, that is, took a decision, it was not bound to follow this Ryland versus Fletcher rule and could evolve a rule that the Supreme Court would formulate a rule suitable to the socio-economic condition prevailing in. Supreme Court thought to follow a rule which was suitable for the socio-economic condition. It involved the rule of absolute liability. There, for absolute liability, the exceptions as applicable to Ryland versus Fletcher rule, those are not applicable in those absolute liability case. It expressly declared that the new rule was not subject to any of the exception under the rule in Ryland versus Fletcher. That means the Supreme Court expressly declared that under the rule of absolute liability, that it is not absolute liability rule is not subject to the exceptions as applicable to Ryland versus Fletcher rule. After laying down the above mentioned rule, the court directed that the organization who had filed the petition may file action in appropriate court within a period of 2 months to claim compensation on behalf of the victim under the absolute liability. So, in this case, so you should know what is absolute liability, what is MC Mehta, that is MC Mehta versus Union of India, that is this exceptions of Ryland versus Fletcher rule will not be applicable. The defendant will be made absolute liability. So that a person who is running a hazardous factory or any escape of that is any hazardous, if that is explained the following. If the enterprise is permitted to carry any hazardous or inherently dangerous activity for its profit, if a particular person, if a particular industry is carried, it is a hazardous industry, inherently dangerous for the profit, the law must presume that such permission is conditional on the enterprise absorbing the cost of any accident arising on account of such hazardous, inherently dangerous activity. Such hazardous or inherently dangerous activity for private profit can be tolerated only on condition that the enterprise engaged in such hazardous, inherently dangerous activity indemnifies all those who suffer. That means when a person runs a hazardous industry, so that is if any damage, any injury is caused due to because of such hazardous industry, then is liable. That is absolute liable. That is supplying or using electric energy of high voltage, the legal position being settled by the Honorable Supreme Court in many decisions. That is, unless requisite measures have been taken to prevent its uncontrolled escape, that may injure, impair, or take away life or property. Any omission in preventing or discharge of high voltage electricity by any in electricity, because of the uncontrolled escape of such, the basis of such liability is a foreseeable risk. So this is absolute liability. Now, probably you are clear now what is the difference between absolute liability and strict liability. In case of strict liability, Ryland versus Pichu, negligence may not be, the plaintiff may not be negligent, but in spite of that, he is liable because any harm is caused. But there are exceptions to the Ryland versus Pichu rule, that is strict liability rule, have exceptions. But in case of absolute liability, that is very hazardous industry, poisonous gas, etc. So for that, there is absolute liability. Like situation, that is strict liability, because hazardous and inherently dangerous industry. Hazardous and inherently dangerous industry around thickly populated area could escape the liability for the havoc caused thereby by pleading some exception to the Ryland versus Pichu. So here the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, that did not accept this Ryland versus Pichu rule, and rather that is considering the socio-economic condition of this country, that made the factory owner, that will be hazardous factory owner, dangerous, that is very industries, liable as absolute liability there, and there will be no exception. This is absolute liability. MC Mehta versus Union of India. You should also read the other decision, that is Ryland versus Pichu. This we concluded this, and another is res ipsa loquitur. The thing res ipsa loquitur is a rule of it. The thing speaks of itself. In such case, the plaintiff is not required to prove that the defendant was there. The act itself speaks the negligence of the doesn't of the defendant. So the things res ipsa loquitur is a rule of evidence. This Ryland versus Pichu is strict liability, and this MC Mehta case, that is absolute liability.